Um, Hector, you're wrong. Skyrim descended from heaven like manna above, fully working in every aspect. I know, right? All right, lady. I'm available as a contractor.
Reasonable, huh? That's the best news I've heard all day. According to my grandmother's old schematics, the parts we need should be in the back bays.
Okay. But there's a catch, right?
The back bays are on a lower deck, long abandoned and a haven for miscreants now.
Have you tried sending anyone else down there?
I have. One of my engineers, plus a small security detail. They didn't come back. I can't afford to lose any Mardits on this job. No offense, but a freelancer like you is more dispensable.
It was a walking sim until they added the buggy. Now it's a driving sim.
Nice and pragmatic. Thanks for understanding.
Can we try to talk with whoever's down there?
Those idiots are immune to reason, and they don't much care if the station melts to pieces. They're content to die last. If you could find some way to solve this without violence, I'd prefer that. But more than anything, we need those parts.
All right.
Good. Once you've obtained the parts, we can proceed to the next phase of repairs.
All right. I gotta remember to use my time dilation. I keep forgetting.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the following story. Do you have what it takes to defend your corporate township from the dangers of alien wildlife and the unemployed? Talk to your local manager about applying for military training and lend your life to protecting our wonderful brands and products.
All right, we got a whole bunch of stores we could go to. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to go get some more coffee.
Go back to Byzantium, you gold-plated bastards.
Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch. Sugar calories and strawberry flavored crunch nuggets. Now with
Man, that's got me craving Captain Crunch now. Hang on, why is that pointing me back to my ship? Ah, I see. Oh, I have multiple things. All right, I see. So these are companion. Yeah, definitely prioritize companion quests. I guess I can travel back to the ship, right? I mean, I'm already there. It won't let me go straight to the ship, though. Oh, can I not get to my ship?
Hey there, you mind stepping back? This charming little ship's been impounded and I'm afraid I can't let you near it till it's not. I'd surely love to, but that's just not my bailiwick. You'll want to have words with our representative here from the board, Mr. Udom Bedford. His office is on the promenade.
I have to do that before I'm allowed to.
Have yourself a pleasant day.
Great, so I can't even get to my ship until then. All right. All right. Back down here to go talk to the doctor. I have so many questions now. Oh, by the way, guys, I don't know if you noticed this yesterday, but I may have reinstalled Baldur's Gate 3 because patch 8 is dropping on the 15th. I don't know if you caught that news yesterday. So, I'm just saying that something and I would add, so and we're probably gonna hit 50,000 subs like tomorrow, and tomorrow's like the 12th or something. What is the date? No, today's the 12th. So I'm just saying we may have to do a special 50,000 sub. Well, whatever celebration I do around 50,000 subs, it's probably going to be for the 15th. It just depends on what time they launch that on the 15th. But I'm just saying. Yeah, we're gonna have to we're gonna have to do something. Something.
Rizzo Spectrum Vodka. Aftertaste of rain.
I haven't
Are you
touched
listening
Baldur's
to me,
Gate
Emperor?
3
You can't keep me
since it
out of
came
there.
out on the Xbox.
Please don't make a scene,
I did a
Dr. Finley.
partial second playthrough when it dropped on the Xbox.
I am not making a scene. I'm sorry. Am I causing a scene? See, Umfuru? We could have avoided all this unpleasantness if you just let me talk to Jessie in the first place.
What's this about your friend?
Let me get one thing straight. Jessie and I are not friends. I just owe her, okay? As for the rest, I'm trying to figure that out. All I know is that she's been here too long, and she's apparently not receiving visitors.
You don't like her, but you're checking in on her?
You say that like it's weird.
JK? Oh yeah, it's like a 50-page document for the patch notes. The big thing is they are bringing 12 new subclasses to the game. I haven't actually looked at the patch notes. I just know I think they said it was 54 pages long. It's, I think, one of the biggest patches they've added for Baldur's Gate 3, including the 12 subclasses they're adding. So I think that's primarily what I'm interested in, is going. I'm going to do a Swashbuckler, which is a new class, and I'm going to do a good Dark Urge playthrough, which I've never done. I've never done the Dark Urge stuff, so yeah.
I just don't like to leave a debt unpaid, that's all.
Maybe I can look in on Jessie.
Be my guest. If you know something I don't about dealing with hospital bureaucracy, I'll be impressed.
What seems to be the problem?
I'd like to see Jessie Doyle.
If only my other patients had so many inquiring after them. I'll tell you what I've told the others. The records say Miss Doyle checked herself in and requested I admit no visitors. The requests of our patients are paramount, so no, you may not see her.
Perception. The records say? Have you actually spoken to her yourself?
She's not my patient. I'm certain no one on my staff would falsify patient records, if that's what you're implying. Not without dispensation from Chief Junlei, I fear. We don't have the ability to manufacture our own medical supplies here on Groundbreaker. Regrettably, we are dependent on the board for such mundane items as bandages and antibiotics, as well as more critical resources like adequately trained staff.
Dude, we gotta get rid of the board.
We'd nearly signed a supply agreement with Anti-Cleos, but they demanded we only use their branded drugs, and that's simply not tenable. Take care.
So I have a quest, but I probably can't get past that. Oh yeah, I can. The doc's in here smoking a cigarette. That reminds me of the doctor on Battlestar Galactica, where the doc is like smoking cigarettes, like chain smoking cigarettes the whole time he's telling the president that she's got cancer.
Can't say I've seen you before. I take it you're a freighter captain? If you're here to better yourself, you'll have to wait. We're having a spot of trouble with our delivery service.
Wheeler says your shipment will be coming in soon.
He must be referring to Irion. I'm sure the fool's gotten himself into another scrape. I'm beginning to wonder if I'm ever gonna get my service mechanicals at this rate.
I could try to find him.
I'd be grateful if you'd spare the time. We need his delivery soon as yesterday. Last he told me, he was taking a shortcut by Scylla, an asteroid in the Charybdis cluster. That's where I'd start, were I the adventuring type.
Dude,
You look out, though. The place is
the druid can shapeshift into a dragon now, JK. That's pretty dope. I had a lot of fun playing the Moon Druid on my first playthrough. Like, I've never done a druid as my first, like... What is with the creepy mask, dude?
Ooh, can we rent an upstairs room?
We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the following story. All finals are scheduled to air soon, but a scandal has...
Bless my heart. A stranger come knocking on a poor old woman's door.
Oh, that's what we
You
had.
here for a particular reason? Or did the neighbors tell you how good my sugar cookies are?
Sugar
Made
cookies.
without a single natural ingredient. Or an oven. Just like store-bought.
We didn't have beef tacos at Thindar, but we had, Chris made, essentially we had tacos. Just without putting everything in the taco shell. Because we ate tortillas with it. But she made, we got these little thin strip steaks. And then she cooked those up with broccoli and, refried beans. And, dude, you could never go wrong with tacos. Phineas sent me, said you could sell me a nav key to Stellar Bay.
Those have been the height of illegality since Stellar Bay turned their noses up at the board. You and I could be thrown to the void just for discussing such a transaction. Lucky for us, Groundbreaker's a free port. We're outside of the board's control. For the time being, at least. Now, I only have the one nav key. And they're hard to come by these days. It won't be cheap. If you find yourself lacking in the bits, I might have an opportunity you'd be interested in.
10,000 bits, Jesus. Any chance of a discount?
Phineas, that old kook. He was quite the dancer back in his prime, did he tell you? Real light on his feet. Real light in the wallet, too. He still owes me a small fortune. Laws. Maybe I should charge you double.
No, don't charge me double. Alright, tell me about the opportunity.
Well, I find I'm in need of a ship captain with a little moral flexibility. Might be this could help out the Groundbreaker, as well as earn some bits. But if you've got qualms...
No. No qualms here. Tell me the details.
Do you know Edna, over in engineering? Sweet as a pea, that one. On occasion, she'll pass along transmissions I might find interesting.
Okay.
She sent me a recording of a distress signal she'd scraped from the Groundbreaker's comm array. Curious thing is, it came from an outpost called Roseway. And Auntie Cleo abandoned that place years ago.
Say no more. I'm in.
You've got an ear for intrigue and a nose for bits. I like that. Here's a copy of the SOS recording, complete with the coordinates. If you should find a secret worth selling, might be I could find a buyer. Corporate bigwigs will pay top bit for inside information on their competitors.
Yeah, but I can't do anything
The
until I
more
get my
we
ship
got
out
the
of Hawk.
crooks fighting each other, the less time they got to meddle in our affairs.
Abandoned outpost, corporate secrets, got it.
Don't forget to come find old Gladys when you're done. Won a charming copper kettle off that girl who runs the pub. She's a fierce arm wrestler, but she's no match for your pal Gladys.
Oh. So first thing I want to do is sell all the junk, repair all equipped. What does she have that I might want to buy? Let's look at weapons. Salvager's Helper, space 660 DPS. Jesus. Oh, she still has dialogue.
If you're here for this week... Yeah.
Oh, I'm assuming that's just
Anytime.
related to the thing. Alright. Well, I can't do anything until I get my ship out of Hawks, so... Oh, what's back in here? Don't look in the trash bin, kids. Nachos.
CNP
Been following that series? The Hunt for the Wimbrel?
Baked beans is the only one.
Mantiqueen examined internal anatomy. Alright, I'm gonna get some more coffee. And see if I can't find a snack, because all that talk of nachos made me hungry. I'll be right back.
Patience is a virtue, or so I've been told.
Alright. Well, I know she took out some frozen broad bean puree for later, so that's probably going to be for breakfast. So I just grabbed a hunk of cheese. Yeah, I genuinely like cooking a lot too. I think there's something, if you like to cook, there is a Like, I think if you like to cook,
A neighbor from above approaches our realm. Back away now, or you'll parley with the king.
I think if you like to cook, food becomes something more than just, there are some people who don't care. I remember I worked with a guy years ago. He was my dad's business partner. Many years ago, he ended up taking over my dad's first construction company when I was a kid. And I went on a work trip with him one time, and his view on food was literally, it builds a turd to push out the one from yesterday. That was literally a phrase that I learned from him when I was like 13 years old. Because he did not care about breakfast, lunch, or dinner. He didn't care. Yeah, it just builds a turd to push out the one from yesterday. Like, the guy literally just didn't care. It's just fuel. Just, you know. And then you have, like, one of the joys of working in the travel industry for all the years that we did was we got to go to a lot of really cool restaurants and work in videography and photography for the gastronomy industry in tourism markets. And when you start to get into the Michelin level restaurants, there is an appreciation for food that goes into the artistry. Now, you don't have to have a Michelin star to be able to be an artist in the kitchen and to be able to cook good food. What I'm saying is that there is an artistry to good food and to gastronomy. One of my first times being like exposed to that was we were probably 4 or 5 years into doing that for a living before we got to the point where we were being treated as royalty in the travel influencer space. So it took like, 4 or 5 years to grind our way up. But we had gotten invited to Spain for 3 months on the government's dime to go work with the Costa Brava region of Spain, which is in the Pyrenees, and Barcelona and Girona, and we were there for 3 months as resident bloggers in Costa Brava. So they brought us in, and my wife and I spent 3 months in Spain, and they paid for everything. And they sent us to some of the most amazing restaurants I've ever been to in my life. And it was the first time I'd ever had foie gras, and I had no idea. Like, I had had good food in my life, and I'd been living in Mexico, and I'd been traveling around Latin America. So, I've been exposed to food, and I'd been traveling all throughout Europe, and I had lived in Bulgaria and been to Italy and all these other places, Serbia. And so I had been exposed to food, but I had never had an appreciation for food. And then we're there, and we're getting wined and dined. And it was like, I think the opening, there was a night we did this, I don't remember the name of the restaurant. I would have to go back and look at my notes. But we got sent to this restaurant with like 5 other photographers and videographers. And it was like a 7-course meal. I had never seen a 7-course meal before. But it was like we sat down and it was like, okay, first we're going to bring you this, and then 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 we're going to bring you this. And then it's like a $750 per person experience. And that same night, after we finished at the restaurant, we went to this underground, like, not underground as in backwater, like it was an under the ground, like in a cave type of like specialty cocktail cellar, where like the cheapest drink was like €75, and they're preparing these gin and tonics with like special smoke machines and like I've never seen any of this equipment in my life. And we're trying out all these different gin and tonics, and I'm just like, holy shit, I didn't even know that this was a thing that existed. Like, I never knew that food of this quality existed. I didn't know that these types of like specialty foods and drinks and experiences were a thing, because it's such a, it's part of another realm of of income bracket that I had no clue, right? But then that got me onto the journey of just falling in love with food. And we eat simply, but we eat well at our house. As you can see, Chris cooks amazing food. I love to cook as well. I just don't do it as much. Back in the day, before I was doing this full time and everything else, I would spend more time in the kitchen. But these days, I only cook probably twice a week, whereas before I used to cook about half the time. But our roles are a little bit reversed now that we've moved out to the countryside. But there is a thing about food. Yeah, there is, and I'll never forget the first time I had like really expensive, like good wine. Like I'm a big believer in that there is a certain price point where wine doesn't like you can get some exceptional wine in the $20 to $30 bottle range, exceptional wines. But there is also a huge difference as a general rule between a $30 bottle of wine and a $300 bottle of wine. And then there's another, there is some types of alcohol are too expensive. Like I think because they're just it's a brand name. But there is a certain truth to that. What Dribrom said. There's a big difference between a $10 vodka and a $100 vodka. It's so true. It's so true. Another perfect example of this is like the local butcher shop that Chris and I were using for the first couple of years we were here. We would just go to because we honestly didn't know the other place existed because we hadn't gone over to that part of town. But like I grew up on a dairy farm and a cattle ranch, so I was always complaining about the fact that like does no one around here sell like good quality beef? Because everything we were getting at the local butcher shops, like the 4 or 5 local butcher shops around here in our area, was just this horribly tough, nasty tasting, low quality. And it's literally they're going to the local ranches and they're getting whatever old, used up cow that the rancher doesn't want. And they're just selling it to the guys. And then they bring it back and they cut it into just everybody uses it for tacos. No one eats steak around here. Nobody does hamburgers. They just use this super thin, like it's 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch thick. That's what they do everything. They cut it all down into the strips, and then they use that for tacos and all this other stuff. And so, finally finding a butcher shop that cuts, like a 2-inch thick steak, and they sell tomahawks and ribeyes and New Yorks and ribs and all, and they actually know what they're doing with the animal. Like Chris and I were talking about this the other day. Like the normal people who live around here, they have no clue that even exists, that type of food even exists, because it's so outside of the realm of their daily life and what they can afford.